Hi everyone, I'm Tang Tang from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a fruit pillow, the strawberry version. This project is divided into several parts: the main body, the calyx, the blossom, the blush, the mouth and eyes. Let's start with the main body. We'll begin with a magic ring. Join with a slip stitch and work counterclockwise. We'll need to add fiberfill while crocheting. Before we start crocheting, let's take a look at the chart. Our plus number stands for the round number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows what stitch techniques and increasing or decreasing are needed for the current round. The total stitches column shows all the stitches for the current round. Total stitches after completing all rounds. The stitches used are X single crochet, B single crochet increase, a single crochet decrease, slip stitch and chain stitch. Watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. To make it easier for you to see clearly, I'll use different yarn for demonstration here. Colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes and hook sizes, please refer to the product detail page and printed pattern instructions. The original yarn may make it hard to see the stitches clearly. For the first 2 rounds, here, I'll first demonstrate with other yarn. You can follow the video to learn the method first, or practice the stitches with other yarn you have at home. Once you've learned the stitches and crocheting method, switch to the original yarn for crocheting. Later, I'll also demonstrate with the original yarn, if you have trouble finding the stitches. The starting chain in the pattern is a magic ring. It means the casting on method is a magic ring. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Wrap it around your left pinky from front to back once. Then pass it between your middle finger and index finger. Next, wrap it around your middle finger once from front to back. Don't make the yarn too tight, otherwise the loop will be hard to take off. Finally, use your thumb to hold down the crossing point on your middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand, and pick up the topmost yarn on your middle finger to thread it through. Place the crochet hook above the yarn on the left side. Then pull the yarn through directly. This completes the magic ring casting on. Next, work the first round. Here I need to explain something. Due to the special yarn, your hands may get a bit tired while crocheting. When your hands are tired, you can change the grip to relieve it. Here I'll show you 2 gripping styles. The first one is like holding a pen. The second one is like this. Place your hand above the crochet hook and gently hold the hook. On the left hand, the pinky has yarn wrapped around it. If you can't pull the yarn during crocheting, just loosen the yarn a bit. Use your ring finger and pinky to lightly hold the yarn in place. Then begin crocheting. Round 1, 6x. The number before the X indicates how many stitches to make. Crochet that many single crochets. This means to crochet into the magic ring, starting loop, crochet 6 single crochets. First, make 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet, yarn over, and pull the yarn through. 1 chain stitch is completed. This turning chain is not marked in the chart. When crocheting in rounds and joining with a slip stitch, you need to start each round with a turning chain. The turning chain for the single crochet does not count as a stitch. You can gently tighten it. If you can't pull it, it's okay not to. First, crochet the first single crochet. Pick up the 2 strands above the middle finger and thread through. That is, the large space from the magic ring. Yarn over and pull the yarn through. Yarn over again, pull through all the loops on the hook in one go. One single crochet is done. The braid on the upper right is its stitch. One stitch represents one stitch. This is the first stitch of this round. Place a stitch marker on this stitch to mark it. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a safety pin or paperclip instead. To distinguish the first stitch, you can add another stitch marker. Now let's take a look at what it looks like after completing the first single crochet using the original yarn. What kind of effect it has. One single crochet is completed. Touch it with your hand. You'll feel two threads lying across the top. A bit lower from those two threads, there's a slight indentation. Spread the fabric open a bit with your fingers. This is the stitch hole for the single crochet. Place a stitch marker on this hole to mark it. Or you can mark it in advance. Here, we've looped back a little. Right after completing the starting chain, there's a loop sitting on the hook. We'll mark by inserting into the two threads below the hook. Once marked, work a single crochet. Then continue working single crochets. Now for the second stitch. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. You can make the stitches of the first round slightly loose to avoid difficulty pulling the yarn. When closing the ring later, yarn over and draw through the two loops on hook. This completes the second single crochet. For the first round, you can place a stitch marker on each stitch. Continue with the third stitch. Insert into the space, yarn over and draw through. Yarn over again, and draw through once. This completes the third single crochet. Continue crocheting the remaining 3 single crochets. After that, close the magic ring. Simply pull tight the starting yarn tail. Tighten the center of the fabric piece. The loop is now closed. Next, work one slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch of this round, which is the marker position. Insert. Pull the yarn through. Draw through all loops on the hook in one go. Slip stitch completed. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. Need to pull tight. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. Actually, when crocheting around in a circle, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and pull tight. This completes the first round. To make it easier to distinguish, we'll place a stitch marker on the right side of the fabric facing us. Pick any position and attach one stitch marker as a mark. The side with the marker is considered the right side of the fabric. The other side is the wrong side. Next, thread the starting yarn tail onto a yarn needle. On the wrong side of the fabric, weave it through a few stitches to hide it, so the loops won't come undone. You can weave it a few more times. Leave the excess yarn tail here to be used as stuffing. Now let's take a look at how the first round looks when using the original yarn. You can also count the stitches by counting these little bumps on the surface. Start counting from the position of the first stitch marker. Each bump represents one stitch. Keep counting until you reach the last stitch position. There are 6 bumps here in total, which means we've crocheted 6 stitches. That's how we count the stitch count. Next, move on to crochet the second round. Our 2 is 6V. The number before the V indicates how many single crochet increases to work in a row. Here it means to crochet 6 single crochet increases in a row. First, make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Let me emphasize again, when crocheting in rounds with a slip stitch join, you always start by making a beginning chain. I won't repeat this explanation later on. Into the first single crochet stitch of the previous round, make 1 single crochet increase. That means crocheting 2 single crochets into the same stitch. 1 stitch. Remember to mark the first stitch. Same yarn for the following parts. Mindful not to crochet too loosely, as it may affect the finished product's dimensions. Two stitches. Single crochet increase completed. You can skip marking the middle now. Continue making 1 single crochet increase on the left stitch. In this round, you'll make a total of 6 single crochet increases. Continue crocheting the remaining 4 stitches. After completing the last single crochet increase, don't forget to place a marker in the last stitch. You can check the stitch count now. The total number of stitches for each round is indicated in the corresponding chart. I won't mention it again from now on. Next, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Pull through all the loops on the hook in one go. Slip stitch completed. Pay attention. At the end of each round, always join with the first stitch using a slip stitch, and pull tight. This completes round 2. Let me show you using the original yarn. Just slightly below each stitch, you can see a little shadow. Touch it with your hand, and you'll find the base of each stitch. When crocheting with the original yarn later, pick up through these positions. Continue crocheting round 3. R3 is XV times 6. The parentheses here indicate a group. Times number indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. First, chain 1 to begin. According to the chart, work 1 single crochet. For each following round, you need to place a stitch marker on the first and last stitch. I won't mention this again later. Next, make a single crochet increase. One group, XV, is completed. Let me demonstrate once again. First, work 1 single crochet on the left stitch. Then, make a single crochet increase on the adjacent stitch. This is the second time. This round needs to repeat XV 6 times. For the remaining 4 repeats, all are worked using the method of 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet increase. Finally, join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. That completes the third round. When counting rounds, you can count the raised textures. 1, 2, 3. Now we've completed 3 rounds in total. This is how you count the rounds. Next, let's take a look at the original yarn after completing 3 rounds. The surface will have these raised ridges in rounds. When counting the rounds, just count those raised textures. Now move on to the 4th round. First, make a chain stitch to begin. Then follow the chart to make a single crochet in the first stitch on the left. Remember to mark it. Make a single crochet increase in the next stitch. Make a single crochet in the left stitch. This completes 1 group of stitches. Continue with the second group. Make a single crochet in each left stitch in turn. A single crochet increase. Then a single crochet. This completes the second group of stitches. The following is just repeating this group of stitches. Keep crocheting all the way down this round. Remember to mark the last stitch? Finish by joining with a slip stitch to the first stitch. This completes round 4. The effect of this round will be a single crochet increase every 2 single crochets. You can measure the fabric piece here. If it differs greatly from the chart, it is recommended to adjust your tension and crochet again, to avoid affecting the finished product's dimensions. Rounds 5 to 21 that follow. Use stitch patterns that have already been demonstrated in detail earlier. The meaning of the increases and decreases explanation is similar to before. Everyone just needs to crochet accordingly following the stitch pattern order in the chart. Among them, work even means 1 stitch to 1 stitch crocheting. After completing, the fabric will naturally curl. Simply turn the right side outwards. Let's take a look. A raised texture on the right side indicates 1 round. Don't forget the beginning chain and slip stitch when crocheting. Next, follow the method we learned earlier. Refer to the chart and complete this section. During the crocheting process, you may encounter a situation where the yarn tail is too short and needs to be joined. Here, I'll demonstrate the yarn joining method with a sample swatch. Join the yarn at the single crochet position here. First, make an incomplete single crochet. Insert. Yarn over and pull through. This completes 1 incomplete single crochet. Place the yarn tail in front. Then take the new yarn. Leave a little extra at the beginning. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Simply press it behind the fabric. Pull the yarn through. Adjust slightly. This completes the single crochet and the color change. Then tie both yarns together to secure them. When crocheting later, weave the yarn tail in together. This is the method for joining yarn. If you come across a knot in the middle of the yarn ball, cut the knot out. Then join the yarn using this method. Now let's start round 22. Make 1 beginning chain. According to the pattern chart, work 6 single crochets in sequence first. After completing that, the next stitch is a single crochet decrease. First, work into the 2 stitches on the left side. Make 1 incomplete single crochet in each. First, insert into the first stitch. Yarn over and draw through. This completes 1 incomplete single crochet. Continue to the second stitch. Insert into the left stitch. Pull the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. The single crochet decrease is completed. Work 6 single crochets following the chart. Pay attention not to work into the stitches already decreased. Once completed, 1 group in the table is done. Continue with the second group. First, work 6 single crochets in sequence. After that, work 1 single crochet decrease. First, make 2 incomplete single crochets in sequence on the left stitch. Once completed, yarn over and draw through all loops in once. The single crochet decrease is completed. Work 6 single crochets in sequence on the left stitch. This completes the second group of stitches. Continue following the chart to finish the remaining part. Finish with a slip stitch at the end. This completes round 22. Continue crocheting in rounds for the remaining part of the main piece. Everyone can follow the table to crochet. Stuffing is also needed during the crocheting process, when you finish the third to last round. Take the stuffing, fluff it up, and then stuff it in. The stuffing should be firm and even. But don't stuff it too tightly, or it'll become too hard. Keep the main piece soft. That's how you do the stuffing. After this, you'll continue crocheting while stuffing as you go. Keep crocheting down to finish the remaining part. Once the last round is completed, we'll now fasten off the yarn. First, crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 20 cm yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Thread the reserved yarn tail through the yarn needle. Pass through the front loop of each stitch from the last round one by one. Gently pull to tighten as you go. This will slowly close up the small hole. If you really can't find the front loop of each stitch, just sew it in a crisscross pattern like this. As long as the hole doesn't show any stuffing, it's fine. I'll continue picking up the front loops. Pass the excess yarn tail through once on the left side to secure it. Insert through the center of the opening. Pull the needle out at any position. Gently pull the yarn to tighten, then press the closing area flat. Tie a knot to secure it. Weave the excess yarn tail through the fabric a few times to hide it. Finally, tuck all the yarn tails inside the fabric. That's all for the closing technique. The main part is also covered. After completing the main part, next we'll learn how to crochet the calyx. Just like the main part, it also starts with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. After completing it, assemble it with the main part. The new stitches used are T half double crochet, F double crochet, E treble crochet, and K skip stitch. Please watch the demonstration. The crocheting method for the first 8 rounds. Everyone can follow the same cast on and crocheting method as the main part. Just refer to the pattern chart for the calyx. Pay attention that the stitch count is small in the first few rounds. You can place a stitch marker in each stitch. And remember to keep the right side facing out. I've already crocheted this part in advance. Now let's crochet the final round. First, make 1 beginning chain. In the first stitch of the previous round, make 1 slip stitch. Do not tighten. Then crochet 7 chains. In the first stitch, pick up 1 strand on the top of the chain and mark it. If you can't tell them apart, except for the last chain, you can mark every chain. Or you can mark them in advance. It's the strand on the left side, below the hook that you need to pick up. After marking it, crochet a chain stitch. Now 2 chain stitches are completed. Continue crocheting. Do not mark on the last stitch. Once done. In the chart, 2 means starting from the second chain from the end. Pick up 1 strand on the top of each chain, and crochet 1 single crochet in each. In other words, start crocheting from the stitch marker on the left side. The next stitch is a half double crochet, yarn over the hook once. Insert the hook, yarn over and draw through. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. This completes 1 half double crochet. Work a double crochet into the left chain. Yarn over the hook once. Yarn over the hook once. Insert into the left chain. Yarn over and draw through. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops remaining. Yarn over once and draw through. This completes 1 double crochet. Work another double crochet into the left chain. Yarn over the hook once. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. This completes another double crochet. Work 1 treble crochet into the left chain. Yarn over the hook twice. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. Now there are 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Once. Twice. 3 times. This completes 1 treble crochet. Work another treble crochet into the left chain. Yarn over the hook twice. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. 1, 2, 3. This completes another treble crochet. Skip 4 stitches on the previous round. Make 1 slip stitch in the next stitch. Don't pull it too tight. This completes one group within the parentheses. Let me demonstrate another group. First, make 1 slip stitch on the left stitch. Chain 7. Start from the second stitch from your hook. Pick up 1 strand on the top of the chain, and make 1 single crochet in order. One half double crochet. Yarn over the hook once. Insert. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over again, and pull through. Another half double crochet is now complete. Continue on the left side by making 2 double crochets in order. Two treble crochets. After completing, skip 4 stitches on the next row. Make 1 slip stitch in the next stitch. This completes the second sequence. The following steps will just repeat the demonstration of the second sequence. Refer to the chart and complete this round. Once the last stitch is done, pick up a few strands on the left side, and make a slip stitch to connect. Leave a tail of 60 centimeters for sewing. You can stuff a small amount of filling into the first 7 rounds of the supple. That's all for the crocheting method of the supple. After completing the supple, take out the main piece. Place it on the last few rounds. Align it to the center. Thread the reserved yarn tail into a sewing needle. Pick up a few strands on the surface of the main piece, and sew the supple onto it. Follow this method to complete the sewing around the entire edge. If the middle round looks a bit puffy, you can add an extra round of stitching to secure it. Once done, tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Hide the yarn tail inside the main piece. That's all for the supple. Next, let's move on to the flower. It consists of the flower core and the petals. The crocheting method is similar to the main piece. It also starts with a magic ring, then crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Just follow the pattern chart for crocheting. I've already finished mine in advance. Let me first explain this special yarn. When you encounter a single crochet stitch, we can mark ahead of time by picking up the 2 strands below the hook. Then proceed with the crocheting. Or you can also do it like this. When wrapping the last time, pick up the 2 strands on the right side below the hook to mark. As you crochet more rounds, you'll generally see shadows like this while working. That means you're picking up those shadows to crochet through. If you still can't tell where to pick, just place a stitch marker every few stitches. That's how to work with this type of yarn and what to pay attention to while crocheting. If your hands are too tight like this, causing the fuzzy fibers on the yarn to separate. After tightening, if it becomes impossible to pull back, use a yarn needle to loosen up the starting part here. Place this section to the back. Hold it in place with your left middle finger. Then wrap the yarn. And this kind of situation is resolved. Press the flower core from the center to flatten it. Take out a petal and place it on the ending side of the flower core. Arrange them in a spiral pattern. Apply a small amount of glue to secure them in place. Don't let them spread out. This makes it easier to sew the petals onto the flower core. Once the glue is dry, thread one of the yarn tails through a yarn needle and sew them together. There's no specific sewing method required, as long as they don't come off. Pay attention to not letting the stitches show on the front side of the flower core. After sewing one petal in place, tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Don't cut the excess yarn yet. Follow this method to sew the remaining petals in place. Once all petals are sewn on, sew them onto the side of the flower calyx. Pick up a few threads from the surface of the main piece, and sew them together with the petal. If you run out of one thread, use the remaining yarn to continue sewing. Once done, tie off and weave in the ends. Finally, hide all yarn tails inside the main piece. This completes the flower sewing. Next, let's talk about the remaining part. The crocheting method for the blush is similar to the main piece. Both start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The mouth is crocheted directly with chain stitches. Leave a 15 cm yarn tail at both the beginning and the end. No need to place a stitch marker. The length of the chain should be around 4 cm. Adjust the number of chain stitches as needed. Now let's start the assembly. First, take the blush piece. Place it on top of the main piece, with the wrong side facing up, about 1 round away from the edge. Position at round 13. Leave a space of 6-7 stitches between the two blush pieces. Now let's demonstrate the sewing method using a sample. The number of rounds in the fabric piece is not for reference, only the method is being demonstrated. Thread the reserved yarn tail through the yarn needle. Use a whip stitch sewing method. That means sewing over and under each stitch. Keep the visible stitches on the right side short, to avoid an uneven appearance on the surface. If there's a slight bulge in the middle, thread the yarn through the center to adjust it. Press the blush piece flat. Finally, tie off and weave in the ends. Hide all yarn tails inside the fabric. That's how the sewing method for the blush is done. Next, take out the mouthpiece. Place it between the two blush pieces. Position it 16 rounds away from round 1. Shape it into a V shape. Now let's use this small swatch to demonstrate the sewing method. Thread both ends of the yarn into the main body separately. Draw them out from the same stitch. Tie a knot to secure it. Take 1/2 and thread it into the yarn needle. Secure the folded chain stitch underneath. Finally, tie off and hide the yarn tails. That's how the mouth is sewn on. Apply a little glue to the chain stitch. Then stick it onto the main body. Adjust the shape of the mouth. Now let's crochet the eyes. Take the yarn. Start with a slip knot. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Hold the hook with your right hand. Insert the hook into the knotted loop. Adjust the loop size. Then refer to the chart and make the corresponding number of chain stitches. Before crocheting, first, pick up the left side of the hook and mark 1 thread. Except for the last chain, which won't be marked. All other chains can be marked. Once completed, from the second CH, means starting from the second chain from the end. That is, where the left stitch marker is placed. Start with 1 single crochet. Remember to mark the first stitch. Make another single crochet in the next chain. In the last chain, make 1 3SC in 1, 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. That means making 3 single crochets in the same position. One, 2, 3. This stitch marker can now be removed. Rotate the piece. Pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain and hook 1 single crochet, each in sequence. That is the insertion point for the stitches on this side. And it's also where the stitch marker was placed. Pay attention not to insert into the same insertion point of those 3 single crochets. Make a single crochet increase in the next stitch. Finally, join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. Leave a long yarn tail at the end for sewing. Cut off the excess yarn tail from the beginning chain. That's the crocheting method for one eye. Everyone follow the pattern chart and crochet another eye. Next, we'll sew on the eyes. Here, let's first talk about the position. Take out the 2 eyes. Place them next to the blush, slightly higher than the blush. About 0.5 centimeters away from the blush. Front side facing up, place it vertically. Now let's demonstrate the sewing method using a sample swatch. Thread the reserved yarn tail of the eye into the yarn needle. I'll demonstrate with a sample swatch here. The position is not for reference, just demonstrating the method. Pick up a few threads on the surface of the main piece, and sew them to the edge of the eye. This way, the eye is sewn on. Tie a knot, and weave in the ends. Make sure to hide all the yarn tails. That's the end of explaining the eye sewing method. Next, take another strand of ivory yarn. Thread it into the yarn needle. Embroider line segments on the first 13 rounds to represent strawberry seeds. Just space them evenly apart. Start by inserting the needle at any position. Leave a little tail at the beginning. Then start embroidering the line segments. For each strawberry seed, embroider 2 line segments. You can transition to the next strawberry seed position in between. When one strand of yarn is used up, tie a knot to secure it. Weave in the ends. Then take another strand of yarn to embroider the remaining strawberry seeds. That's all for the embroidery method of the strawberry seeds. Up to this point, the entire product has been fully explained. If you have any unclear points during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to reach out to our customer service. Susan's family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.